from Newsweek, ladies and gentlemen, Pam Bondi announces charges against New York over immigration. You're next. Let me just play the video for you guys. We got it right here. We got it in full. It's only 30 seconds long. Take a listen.
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. We're here to...
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Newsweek says this. They announced charges against Kathy Hochul, Letitia James, both Democrats, for allegedly failing to enforce federal immigration laws. Bondi said the lawsuit was also filed against Mark Schroeder, the head of the DMV. President Trump was elected off the back of a campaign focused on illegal immigration, etc. They say last week the U.S. government filed a lawsuit against the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, and Cook County in federal court, saying that their sanctuary city laws obstruct Trump's immigration enforcement policies. Bondi's announcement that New York was next focused on state-level leadership, rather than New York City specifically, despite the metropolitan area taking most new arrivals during the so-called border crisis. So I'm curious what the suit is actually going to mean. They say Bondi's argument against New York and the DMV, which allows illegal immigrants without legal status to obtain driver's license. They say it does not include their immigration status on the document and offers protections for immigrants from discrimination, blah, blah, blah. Yet they're still offering services that are supposed to go to American people to non-citizens. It's just a lawsuit. I guess the remedy would be to make them stop. I would like to see actual criminal charges where they perp walk these people, but perhaps we're not there yet. I don't know if we'll ever be. What do you guys think?
As a New Yorker, I'm very happy about this. Kathy Hochul has been the worst thing to happen to the city. I'm born and raised there. It has never been more unsafe. All the hotels are filled with migrants while there are still veterans on the side of the road. I pay taxes in New York. It is so offensive that my money is going to be used to house, as they say, migrants, people who illegally came into this country, over people who fought and served this country. But specifically the hotels that they've been putting them up in, it was originally for the homeless folks in lockdowns. The government was paying these hotels to house all these homeless people. They're like, it's not safe for them on the streets. And then the hotels realize it's more profitable for them to just charge the federal government for housing, for food and everything. And so then they started taking in all the illegal immigrants. And I don't know if it's related to this lawsuit, but Kristi Noem already recouped, I believe it was $49 or $59 million from FEMA that was supposed to be used for New York for illegal immigrants. They took it back. They said it's not being used properly. So I'm glad that something will change, because the city has never felt so unsafe. You've seen last year, families would pop up on every single corner. Whole new families, brand new Jordans, gold watches, gold rings, holding signs saying, I need money for my family. And it's just offensive when we're all working so hard to live well in New York. Get a job, come here legally, or else.
This Kathy Hochul thing is weird. She didn't get, correct me if I'm wrong, nobody voted for her.
The first time.
Yeah.
She did get voted.
She got appointed in the first time after, was it Cuomo stepped down, and then they just, is that normal for them just to put somebody, whoever they want in?
She was lieutenant governor.
Okay.
And so when he steps down, she steps up, and then when the election happened, she won.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest, I don't think any of these people actually won elections. Like the idea that someone like Nancy Pelosi won an election, like, yeah, sorry, nice try. Nancy Pelosi's own words. She held up a glass of water and said, this glass of water would win in my or AOC's district if you put a D on it. That's right. The people in these places, they're not thinking at all. They're not thinking. You know, Allison was asking me earlier, she was like, why is anybody mad about what Elon is doing with the Doge stuff?
A lot of it's because they don't know what he's doing, and they're confused, and they're being led around by
that's what I said. I said, no one's mad about it. And she goes, yeah, I see people who are mad. I'm like, no. The people who know what Elon is doing are happy about it. Mm-hmm. And she was like, right, because I am. I'm excited. It's like, oh, he's cutting out all this garbage. The people who don't like Elon, who are standing in there's that viral video we have on Timcast News where they're singing, which side are you on? Those people have no idea what's going on. All they know is, Emerald Man bad or whatever. I don't know. Tesla Man bad. There you go. Mars Man bad.
Congress had a Marjorie Taylor Greene led, like, I guess you would call it, where they pulled in a bunch of Doge employees or something, and they grilled them for 2 hours. And even Jasmine Crockett, who's, can be vocally a little aggressive sometimes about things, was like, by the end of the talk, was like, thank you for doing this legit. We do want to get waste out of government. So I think it's hard to really be angry with what DOJ is doing if you understand what DOJ is doing. They're not making the final decisions. They're just displaying information for people.
The people that are most vocal about being upset with DOJ, those people are committed Democrats and their ideologues, right? They're not mad because they have a substantive disagreement with getting rid of waste. Because if it was Democrats that were actually trying to get rid of waste, or Democrats, say, going after, just for an example, going after the Pentagon, right? That's something the Democrats generally are comfortable with saying. We got to cut the military. We want to have fewer wars, blah, blah, blah. If they were making these cuts to the military, they'd be perfectly fine with it. It's the Democrats say that this is a problem, and the people that are Democrat operatives and ideologically captured, those people fall in line. But it's not that the average person thinks this is a bad thing. The average person is extremely aware that there is tons of waste, tons of abuse, tons of people that are many people that are living on, exorbitant salaries, that are using things like USAID to fund all sorts of BS projects to siphon money to their own personal bank accounts. I know that today I read something where Musk was going to start looking into Congress people that make like $200,000 a year, that when they start in Congress, they're worth, $1 million or whatever. And then in a few years, they're worth 20 or 30 million. Specifically, Elizabeth Warren was mentioned, but I think that that's a great thing. I love the idea.
He's talking about all bureaucrats.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, because what came up was, I think it was the one who was like in charge at USAID. I think they were like, hey, she got paid $200,000 a year and she's worth like $100 million. I don't know the exact numbers, but they were like, this administrative clerk is worth how much? 9-10 figures off of what? Something doesn't add up. Now, the Congress thing, we actually can easily track. That's easy. You take a look at a member of Congress and you track their stock portfolio and you're like, hey, that's really weird that member of Congress on like, I don't know, the Senate Intelligence Committee or whatever, just made a big investment in that Intel security company based in, insert country. And then a week later, they announce the U.S. has secured this company has secured a contract with the United States. And it's insider trading to the most extreme degree. Let me put it this way without getting too personal. If you are an individual and you are working on a contract deal, let's say a football player or something, I don't know. No, how about this? Pfizer. If you are about to get hired, let's say you're a big celebrity and they say, we want you to endorse the brand. If you run out the door and go buy a ton of their stock and then agree to it, you're going to get in trouble. Insider trading. You knew in advance that something big was going to happen, that you were privy to access, insider access, and it's insider trading. When Congress does it, it's fine. Nobody cares. They know for a fact that they're either passing laws or making fake laws. I'll tell you how members of Congress make money. They actually will introduce a fake bill to shock the price of a company, buy it up, and then the bill fails. It gets better. They'll buy shorts. They'll short a stock, introduce a bill or sponsor a bill, or they know the bill is coming. When the bill is announced, let's say there's a company called Big Pharma, right? Someone they'll put shorts on that stock because they know a bill is about to be introduced called the Ban Big Pharma Act. It comes out, people panic, they sell. They defeat the bill. They drop their short position. They make their profit. Then the bill fails and the stock bounces back up.
There was a meme,
usually they're just buying though.
Nancy Pelosi, where there was a meme of her on the phone. It's like, sell DEI, buy Doge right now, because she's made her whole career with that. But we've had a lot of this government waste, abuse, and fraud in New York with the immigration problem since before Doge came around or Elon Musk or anything. Mayor Adams, who I'm more fond of than other Democrat leaders, but he gave a no-bid contract to .go. I believe it was either $492 or $497 million to house, feed, and completely take care of illegal immigrants in New York. A report that came back like 2 months ago, maybe less, said that basically 90% of that money was wasted. They charged $120,000 in sales tax for foods when they were exempt from sales tax because they were operating on the federal government's behalf. Like, this has been going on for so long in New York, and with the amount that I pay in taxes to see how gross the city is, where's my money going?
That kind of stuff I have a significant problem, a significantly larger problem with than insider trading. That should be illegal. There should be something done about insider trading. But really, the insider trading doesn't hurt the American people, right? It's bad, it's dishonest, it's corrupt, but it doesn't take away from the people that pay taxes. It doesn't take from the government. You know, the government doesn't print money to give to the people that are investing in these companies and stuff. Insider trading is just, you know, you get inside information about a stock, about legislation that's going to pass, and you capitalize on it. Sure, it's corruption, it's bad, but when the problem that I have is things like we've found out with USAID, where they're funding something, they're paying money to some silly thing, and that money somehow ends up in some bureaucrat's pocket or goes back to some industry insider or whatever. And they're literally just printing the money to give away to private interests. It's the worst kind of corruption because they're just printing the money to give back to people that they like.
I got to talk about these sanctuary cities for a second. Get your guys' opinion on, because normally I'm of the opinion of like states' rights. Feds, don't tread on me, back off, get out of my state, let me govern how I want to govern in my state. If California wants to legalize marijuana, I don't want the DEA kicking the door down because of some stupid federal law. Let the different states have their different laws.
No.
But sometimes maybe, the thing is, I agree with removing the illegal immigrants, you know, as rough as it can be. I think it's a good move. But I still value states' rights. Why are you shaking your head, Phil?
Because constitutionally, the Constitution gives the power to the federal government to take care of immigration. States don't have that authority. So I understand your point about states' rights in the 10th Amendment, but there's a specific enumerated power granted to the federal government in the Constitution.
In fact, when Texas was dealing with the illegal immigration, and they came out and said, we aren't allowed to enforce the border or deport because of the Constitution.
Perfect example.
That's why Texas said, then we're going to send them to the Democrat states, see how they like it. Yep. Meanwhile, California then says to the federal government, we're actually not going to let you even enforce immigration. Yeah. And therein lies the problem.
So I'm
Lone Star in Texas, where they've been spending millions of dollars, independent organizations. I had the privilege of touring the border earlier this year. They're spending millions of dollars on their own to catch, detain, and deport the illegal immigrants that are coming into Texas. And I asked them, the sheriff, I was like, are you going to get that money back? And they're working now to try and sue the federal government to get reimbursed because the federal government's failing to protect their citizens on the border.
On principle, I agree with you. And I like when it comes to the 10th Amendment and when it comes to states' rights, I do agree with you. But when it comes to certain specific things that are enumerated in the Constitution and that are specifically reserved to the federal government, those things should be. It's correct for the federal government to have precedent, to have a primacy over that. It's just there's what they call the supremacy clause. Things that are in the Constitution that are given to the federal government take supremacy over any federal thing. So anything in the Bill of Rights, those are supposed to supersede any state legislation because they're in the Bill of Rights and they're in the Constitution.
And then, of course, you have the 9th and 10th Amendments, which specifically state that if it's not given to the federal government, then the states can deal with it. So there is an argument over how the supremacy clause will play out with things like you mentioned, marijuana in California. And largely, the states just do what they want. Mm-hmm. But immigration is specifically the federal government. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.